Good afternoon. Welcome to Canning with Kate. I am Kate and I am here to show you how to do canning baby or mini potatoes. Or these are technically called gemstone potatoes. I don't know why. They're all the same to me as long as they're small, right? So I have a whole bunch of beautiful potatoes. They are already washed, and so I was going to start packing them into my quart jars. Now, today I am going to be doing kind of what is called rebel canning. The first potatoes that I originally did were in water, and we enjoyed them, but my husband still wasn't a huge fan of those potatoes, and I really feel that potatoes are a really important thing to just have on your shelf in terms of kind of like an emergency food. They will fill you up, they're good carbohydrates, they will give you good energy, and you can really kind of dress them up with butter or bacon or sour cream or cheese, you know, and have a good meal. So I really feel that having potatoes on our shelf is an important thing. And since I have not yet learned how to grow them myself, I have to buy them, and in order to preserve them, I can them. So my first potatoes look like this, okay? Now this is what you are told to do, is to pack them in water and process them that way. You're gonna always have a little bit of starch at the bottom. It's totally normal. Some people have a lot of starch depending on how starchy their potatoes were and how long they soaked them for. So if you end up doing it this way and you do have very cloudy water, it's not a problem. It's just you have a lot of starch in your water, and make sure that you rinse these before you cook or fry them. We made mashed potatoes with those, and I thought they were really good. They were very much different than the potato flakes that you find in the store, and they taste like authentic potatoes. Fantastic in my opinion. Now, I did want to try other ones that are dry packing, okay? So this is not, it's not authorized, shall we say, by the powers that be, that tell you how you can can and how you cannot can. So these have no liquid in them. I just packed them with potatoes. I put some butter and some salt and canned them and processed them that way without any liquid. And this is how they turned out. And we have fried these up for skillets for breakfast, and they are absolutely fantastic. I have made French fries out of these, you know, just slice them and make French fries. My kids did not enjoy those, probably because they were not as crisp as they would have liked to be. So if you know of a process to make them more crispy, please share, because that it was not a go over for my family. So I will probably not be doing those again. But I really do think that the dry packing for me is the best way to do potatoes. Now, you don't have to do it that way. I'm not saying that there's the best way to do it. It's just whatever works best for your family, as long as you are following the safe procedures and processing them for the right amount of time. So that being said, these are going to be dry packed. I'm not putting any liquid in these. Now you can absolutely fill these with water to the 1-inch headspace, okay? And then of course debubble. Now with these, I'm going to start packing these in. I don't want to bruise any. Now while you are washing these were pretty clean because they came from a bag in a grocery store, and they were hardly any dirt on these at all. But you do want to make sure that when you pack potatoes, you wash them and make sure that there's no dirt left on them. And then just pack them nice and tight. I am going to be putting butter in these. You don't have to. You don't have to put anything in them if you don't want to. If you want them completely naked, that's totally fine. It's just what your preference is. I'm gonna kind of shake it up a little bit, let all the potatoes settle, see if I can squeeze one more in. Now you do not want to pack these above the 1-inch head space. So you can see that my potatoes end right there. That's good. Don't pack any more. So we'll just keep packing these guys. I put my butter and salt in them at the end because I have found through trial and error that if I do put salt or butter in the beginning, then it just sits at the bottom and it doesn't get really over the food that you're wanting it to get over. And then you just have kind of like a puddle of butter and salt at the bottom that does you absolutely no seasoning good. So I have taken to just putting everything on the top. Okay. All of my jars just came out of the dishwasher, so they're room temperature. I'm going to be processing these in a cold canner, cold jars, cold everything, and bringing them up to temperature slowly. So it does take a little bit longer, but because nothing is hot, I don't want to shock my jars and cause them to break or to crack. Because as you all know, jars are a little expensive now. So I don't want to lose any due to my desire to rush things along. All right, so this was 3 bags of potatoes, 3 small bags of potatoes. Can you hear my children in the background? It's never quiet in this house, let me tell you. And if it is quiet, there's something wrong. I've learned. Always be suspicious of the quiet. All right, so while I was checking on my potatoes, when I was washing them, I did have to take a few out because I did not want bruised or damaged potatoes in these. So just make sure to kind of pick the cream of the crop. Don't put things in there that you wouldn't normally eat. Or if you have to cut them, just use them for dinner that night. All right, so I got 4 quarts and I only have 2 potatoes left, so I'm not gonna worry about those. I'm not gonna shove those in there at all. Now, for the salt, okay, typically the rule of thumb is if you are adding salt to your recipe or to your food, it's 1 teaspoon to a quart or half a teaspoon to a pint. So I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle my salt in there and get them all processed, or not processed, all covered with the salt. Okay, and then for butter, I'm just taking a small scoop of butter. Some might say like a tablespoon, a teaspoon, it's really up to you. The butter just kind of gives it a little bit of flavor. It doesn't process any differently. And you can always flavor these when you cook them. Okay. Now, the last step. See how easy this is? Easy peasy. Potato squeezy is what my kids would say. Easy peasy, potato squeezy. All right, next you need to get your wet cloth, or if you're using vinegar, just get a wet paper towel, dip it, or get a paper towel, dip it in your vinegar, and rub it around the rims of your jars. So I'll be right back. Okay, now again, this is simply to make sure that you don't have any salt or any butter on the rims of your jars or potatoes. You know, potatoes can absolutely get on there and leave some starch on the rims of your jars. And you don't want that seal to not be a good seal. Again, it's fine if you need to reprocess, but who really wants to do that, right? All right. Wipe this one rim down a little bit better. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my lids. I've checked all my lids, made sure everything is clean. I've washed them and made sure that none of them have any scratches or warping. Got my rings, fingertip tight. Okay, now these babies are ready to go into the canner. All right. See you in a second. Okay, so I'm putting these simply in my pressure canner. It's the cold water. I already have the lid, or the rim of the lid, greased up with olive oil, and so now I'm just going to seal it. Okay. All right, check to make sure. That the seal is the same all the way around, especially on these All-Americans. Okay. Tighten the lug nuts. Are these lug nuts? I don't even know. Okay. Got these nice and tight. Remember, with All-American, you always want to go opposite sides. Whenever you close it, whenever you open it. Make sure it's real tight. So now I'm going to simply let it heat up, build up. Once it starts to come at a very steady steam, right out of here, out of the steam vent, then I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. Once it has vented for 10 minutes, then I'm going to put my weight on for 10 pounds because that's my elevation. So 10 pounds of weight, and once it comes up to pressure, then I will start timing it. Now, potatoes only have to do at quart size is only 40 minutes, so it's a relatively short process, which is awesome, especially when you're starting everything from cold. Okay, so after they process for 40 minutes, I'm going to take, and then you let the pressure come down all the way. Then after the pressure is at 0, I can remove my weight. I personally let it sit for another 5 minutes. Then after the 5 minutes extra, I will go ahead and remove my lid, remove my jars, and let them sit overnight to seal. Now, hoping they all seal properly this time, instead of like my pineapple from my last video. But this should be great, so I'm just going to slowly be increasing in increments of probably 6 or 7 minutes, slowly increasing my heat until it starts to steam. And I will show you the final process when they are all finished. All right, see you in a bit. All right, we are back, and I have just taken these out. Well, it's been probably about an hour since I removed these from the canner. So they're still a little bit warm, but I can tell that they have all sealed. Of course, I'm still going to wait until overnight just to make sure that they have really, really sealed. But you can tell when the lid is a little bit concave and the button is down. So here are the beautiful potatoes. They are always going to have that condensation when you do the dry packing. And then all this liquid is just from the butter and from the liquid inside of the potatoes. So that butter is just gonna stay there and help to flavor the potatoes. So as you can see, they are awesome and ready to go on the shelf tomorrow. So these will be perfect. You can fry them. You can put them in an air fryer. You can put them on the grill. You can mash them up if you want. They will be a great addition to any meal. So got my potatoes on the shelf tomorrow, and I'm very pleased with them. They're so much easier than the other potatoes. I put them back on my pantry shelf already, but you don't have to peel them. You don't have to soak them. It is a game changer in my opinion. So I'm very excited to have those on the shelf now. Just please continue to be prepping your pantries and making sure that you have supplies, and it's always good to have something extra just in case you need it for an emergency. And so keep working, my friends, and thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Give a like, a thumbs up, subscribe, share my video, and I look forward to seeing you back next time. Have a great night.